Hey everyone, what is up? I wanted to make a brief video on a guide for Judgment Paladin. I think the resources that exist out there are pretty good. I mean, they're better than this video will be, but there is some tech that I feel like hasn't really been talked a lot about that I think really makes Judgment Paladin a lot more fun to play. I think everyone's well aware of the extreme tankiness that Judgment Paladin's capable of. But what I think people don't realize is its ability to map, actually run echoes very well. It's actually a pretty fast echo clearer. So I wanted to talk about that today. Yeah, we can go over different gear setups and that sort of thing. Primarily, um, what I like to do, and this is the build I run for all content other than Uber Aberoth, is one which takes Anointed and also maxes out area. Ideally, you would get more points in duration, but it's tough. But basically, this gives you a sort of RF-like setup, and yeah, it's very good for clearing echoes, and it's still perfectly fine for killing bosses. We can actually do a quick boss kill to show that off. Yeah, I basically just swap a little bit of gear around depending on what I'm doing. We can start by going over some of the gear. Actually, let's do that later. Let's just kill stuff. Let's do an echo first. So this is going to be a juiced temple. Hopefully we don't get, depending on the enemy spawn, sometimes these aren't quite as fast as you'd like the snake ladies are pretty obnoxious. So yeah, we're just gonna run around, try to get some of these towers real quick here. Yeah, like these things are a little beefy, so, but if we get rolling, we'll see. But you can see that we are very fast. I've got like 120% movement. I'm just gonna skip Nemesis. Yeah, these are kind of thick enemies, but if we get a couple shrine buffs, we can really get going here. And if you notice, like, yeah, I'm at like no risk of dying. Things are just kind of blowing up around me. I'll just kill these real quick. Of course, you run a juiced map and then you get unlucky with the spawns. You're trying to show something off and then it never goes according to plan. But I think you'll still get an idea here. You know, Obviously, if you hit the right shrines, this really speeds up quite a bit. Also, you got to get lucky with mob spawns, but you can see here now I'm cooking, so we'll just kind of speed through here, killing everything. I mean, void horrors are like very beefy mobs. I'll just skip those towers. This will show off how quickly you can start to pump DPS. You can see that single target is actually not that bad. This is at around 1,000 corruption. The build's capable of going way higher. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Um, yeah, I'll just run around, pick up a few more towers, see how kind of juiced we can get. We're starting to get like this is like what you want to get to, right? Like now I can just run through everything and everything just dies. Yeah, like stuff will just fall over when I touch it now. Maybe not void centipedes, but anyway, yeah, this is this build. You can see it's a real zoomy kind of build. And at lower corruption, like yeah, stuff just dies instantly even without shrine buffs and stuff. Um, yeah, I'll kill this champion real quick just to kind of show off what that's like. Oh, gotta hit him. Too much stuff on the screen. There we go. I guess we can pick up some loot. Okay, I'm gonna port out of here. Um, let's just. I'll check that out later. Let's kill a boss real quick with it, just to show off without respecking that this is still a. I won't bother to do the hard because I want to make this a short video. Um, this is still a pretty good video for bossing. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to change these boots out just because I don't really need movement speed. I would rather have more health. These are uh, Weaver boots that have tier 7 vitality, tier 7 hybrid health. I'll leave everything else the same. So let's see how our DPS is here. One thing you'll notice, and I don't hear people talk about this enough, is you don't want to spam Judgment until you're You actually want to cast Judgment at high mana, so you want to be spamming Vengeance. It's a lot more DPS to play like this than it is to just basically spam Judgment till you're out of mana, and then uh, yeah, spam Vengeance. You wanna be playing like this. So you can see that with a little bit of Armor Shred, yeah, I mean the DPS is decent. It's certainly not the highest DPS build in the game, but given that, you're ultra tanky and you don't have to do any mechanics, like this isn't bad damage at all for 1,000 corruption. And you could probably min max more, but you're able to sustain like 60 plus stacks of armor shred. And that's something that I don't think people understand, or a lot of people don't understand just how impactful armor shred is. I mean, if you're at 60 stacks of armor shred, that's something like a 70% more damage modifier. So yeah, definitely nice to have. So anyway, you can see a little bit of the build there. We can talk about gear. Um, so for this build, I will swap out my defensive idols. So normally you want healing effectiveness, block effectiveness idols. And I switch those with healing effectiveness and some kind of armor shred, either fire or melee. It actually doesn't matter too much because all your skills are both fire and melee skills. So, but if you stack a couple of these, you'll be able to, you hit fast enough, you'll be able to stack up a bunch of armor shred, which makes bossing go quickly. We can talk about the gear more generally. So if I want to do Uber, I will switch to like this kind of a setup. So double red rings, kind of as much health as I can possibly get. With this setup, oh, I should put on my block effectiveness gear too. So this would be my. Oh, I should talk about uh, this. Anyway, we talk about resistances. So with this, I've got 9,000 armor, 63% block effectiveness. I mean, I'm endurance capped. My endurance threshold is like 1,500. With this level of gear, you can actually yeah, face tank Uber Aberoth's slam. Like that was only possible once I got like both Shattered Worlds, Immortal Vice, and 2 red rings. But some things that are important to call out. You'll want your resistances to all be above 115% or at 115% at least. Especially physical is a big one. That's actually why, so when I run my Echo setup, you'll notice that my physical resistance is a little low. That's why I have this idle. So I swapped this out because, right now at 103% physical reduction, because of null portent, I am taking 6% more physical damage. So we don't really want that. So we swap that out. So yeah, let's talk about the gear and some tech and stuff like that. I've got yeah, pretty good Sentinel Leonine's Great Helm. If you can get something close to this, ideally you want health. You want +4 healing hands. Orion's Eye is kind of irreplaceable, but if you can't get one, a good Exalted Oracle's Amulet will be good. But yeah, this item is just godly for Judgment Paladin. Null Portent is incredibly good, yeah, because it gives you 20% less damage taken, all damage, as long as you have enough resistances. I'm using a Transcriber's Graver. It's an LP3, but honestly, all you really need is tier 7 attack speed. The other stuff is just icing on the cake. Even the Fire Pen actually doesn't add that much damage. So even if you get lucky on a 2 LP slam and you hit T7 attack and T5 spell damage, that's really all you need. This shield is like ridiculously good, but again, this is kind of ideal. But what you do need, you do need a T7 block chance on your shield. You don't need it. You could probably still cap with T6, but it's significantly easier to cap block chance at T7. Then you don't have to worry about block chance on rings or taking like sort of suboptimal talents. Um, let's talk about rings. So my mapping setup right now, I'm using at 1,000 corruption a red ring and a crab ring. But I could, if I didn't care so much about like I don't know not having to pay attention. So at lower corruptions below 1,000, I would run these 2 rings, Sunwreath and Flames of Midnight. You have a little bit less damage reduction, but of course you're a bit zoomier because you get Spirit Step. So that's another little movement speed tech. So I would probably start with these 2 rings as my build, and then once you reach a corruption level where it starts to get like slightly rippy, you can switch to a crab ring and a red ring. And then if you go to like 2,000 corruption, you probably would have to start running 2 red rings. Yeah, so we got the crab ring. It's enchanted with yeah, LE damage over time, increased healing effectiveness, health. Both of my red rings are enchanted with strength. This makes it a little bit easier to reach the 180 attribute block cap. Yeah, LE damage over time, hybrid health, Blood of the Exile with T7 movement speed for maximum zooming, Shattered Worlds, and Immortal Vice. Shattered Worlds with T4 or yeah 4 levels of Judgment, and Immortal Vice with T7 attack speed. So obviously you have to kill Uber Aberoth or buy these items, but when I first killed Uber Aberoth, I obviously didn't have these items. So instead, you'll want to use Wing Guards with T7 attack speed, and you can use a Twisted Heart in your relic slot with +4 to Judgment. So some other tech that I think doesn't get mentioned enough, especially for Uber Aberoth, this sword's still in the game. Like, you can, if you're having trouble in the last phase of Uber Aberoth, you can just switch to this when he hits 20% and it'll one-shot him. So, pretty good tech to have. Yeah, we can talk about skill trees. All of my skill trees, and I'll link to my build planner. All my skill trees are pretty much, standard. Other than Judgment, the Vengeance tree. I think this is like widely agreed to be the Vengeance tree. Similarly for Holy Aura, you don't see too much difference here. I was thinking about dropping this point in Mighty Shield because, like, who cares about 30 block effectiveness, and maybe trying Flame Burst. Yeah, you don't do a ton of melee hits, but when you're just sprinting through, right? Because your aura doesn't count as a melee hit, it's only the actual cast. But I might try this out. Symbols, this is again completely standard. You want to max the number of sigils you have. You want to get as beefy as possible with tons of endurance threshold. Let's talk about healing hands though briefly. I do see people with kind of suboptimal healing hands trees. So the first time I killed Uber, myself included actually, the first time I killed Uber Aberoth, I forgot how powerful ward generation can be with healing hands. And even with like basically no ward retention whatsoever, other than what I get from just attributes I have on rings, I'm able to get like 4 to 5,000 ward with this. Yeah, so it's definitely worth picking up 3 points here and as many points in urgent healing as you can get. Because again, it does generate significant ward. I guess, while I'm just talking, I can show that off. We'll go ahead a dummy and see what our ward gets to. But yeah, it's a non-trivial amount of ward, and it really does significantly increase your survivability in like a sort of tank and spank sort of. So here, I'll hit this. We'll see what we get up to. Yeah, hitting around 4,000. This is not my boss killing setup. Probably be slightly higher than that, but still 4K. We're hitting 4.8. Maybe we get up to 5,000 if I Holy Aura. Yeah, some briefly getting to 5,000, but yeah. So it's definitely worth picking up Synthesis of Light as well as many points in urgent healing as you can get. Let's talk about the Judgment Tree. I mean, this is like the whole point of this build. So two things. One, I think that picking up this talent, Anointed, makes running echoes significantly faster. You get that Righteous Fury or Righteous Fire, RF. It's been a while since I played it. You get an RF effect, and you can kind of sprint around and just burn everything. It's also nice to max out area. The only changes that I make for this build, so I run bosses as this, I run echoes as this. It's only when I fight Uber Aberoth that I make changes. So when you fight Uber Aberoth, you'll want to spec out of Anointed. You'll want to max duration here, and you'll want to pick up Holy Eruption and Cleansing Light. I can't overstate how useful Cleansing Light is for the Uber Aberoth fight. You get tons of free cleansing. It really is a game changer for that fight. It makes standing in void puddles not as like terrible. And again, your DPS is a little low, so it's very difficult. You're not in a Racing Strike build, right, where you can kind of thoughtfully maneuver around. Like you're gonna have crap on the floor all over the place because it takes you a really long time, like maybe 15 minutes to beat that fight. So you want to pick up Cleansing Light, and you'll only have like 1 point in area. You can put that 1 point wherever if you don't care that much about area. You can move it around. But yeah, you want to drop Anointed, max duration, and pick up Cleansing Light. And yeah, that's the only change I make. So I'll respec those, and I will switch out my idols to go from healing effectiveness shred to healing effectiveness block effectiveness. And I'm already, once I put on the second red ring, I'll be, yeah, way over phys cap, so I can replace that physical resistance with an armor health thing. So yeah, this would be my Uber Aberoth setup. And I honestly don't fight it that much anymore. But yeah, you're around 4,000 health, and again, just extremely tanky, 9,000 armor. You have tons of dot mitigation. If you get a good roll on your Weaver boots, you permanently have haste because of Shattered World, so you're looking at 31% less damage over time taken. And yeah, a surprising number of things in this game deal damage over time, so getting as much mitigation there as you can, yeah, really, really helps. Like I said, with this level of gear, I'm able to tank everything that happens on Uber Aberoth. I can tank the big slam. You still have to avoid the green waves. Yeah, I haven't actually tried to tank the beam at the end just because the fight's so long. Like I feel like I've invested so much time, I don't want to die there, so I haven't actually tried to phase tank that. But yeah, going back one last time to the build I use for actually farming echoes, kind of zooming. You can see my stats are still pretty good. I give up a little bit of survivability, mainly my block effectiveness goes way down. But I also have 127% movement speed. You can kind of zoom around quite a bit with this sort of a setup. So I'm sure I'm forgetting something. We could talk about blessings, but those are pretty obvious. I'll link to my build planners. Yeah, I think there's plenty of decent information out there on Judgment Paladin. But if you're anything like me, I knew Judgment Paladin existed at the start of the season, but I was watching videos of people, kind of playing like this, like, move 2 steps, cast Judgment, move 2 steps. I'm like, I'm not playing this. I don't care how tanky it is. As somebody who has enjoyed, speedier, zippier builds like Frostclaw Sork back in the day, I've always enjoyed VK Autobomber. That's actually what I started the season as, was VK Autobomber. But I just wasn't really happy with like the level of it's too squishy in my opinion, for the amount of damage that it's really capable of dealing. So I switched to Judgment Paladin with the goal of just being like, well, I'll just kill Uber Aberoth and then I'll go play some fun build. But as I played it, I experimented a bit, and again, this tech of like having the fire aura around you is like a real game changer as far as like enjoyment. I mean, it almost plays like an auto bomber style where you can just kind of dash into packs, especially at lower corruption. Like if I weren't, if you're at like 500 corruption or 700 corruption, like you don't even have to like slow down to kill rares. Like you just burn them to death. So anyway, I think I'm probably rambling a bit, so I will end this video, and yeah, I'll try to link to build planners for this. But yeah, give it a shot. I think nothing against like Lizard IRL's like, significantly better at the game than I am, and his guide's incredible. But there's just, yeah, a couple big tech things that I feel like for the average person really can increase the enjoyment of this build. One is, again, running Echoes with Anointed, and two is when you do Uber Aberoth attempts, Cleansing Light is just makes the fight so much easier. So, all right, well, I hope you enjoyed this. Yeah, let me know what you think. Take care.